So you will need your yoga bolster, or it can be a big pillow, and you will also need a rolled up blanket. I might put the big light on actually so you can see better. Yes, that's better. So have your bolster and a rolled up blanket. So you want your blanket to be quite a chunky blanket. You can also use a pillow if you prefer. And bolster first, blanket just below it. Turn the music down as well. So we're going to be starting this evening on our tummies. Now, if you find your bolster feels too much, particularly if you've any lower back pain or problems, you might not like to be completely on that bolster, you just move it away. You can do this pose without the bolster as well. So we are going to come down onto our bolster. We want to make sure that our tummy's on our bolster and our hips are kind of on that rolled up blanket. Now you might find it quite comfortable to stay as you are. I prefer to bend one leg. So maybe try. We're going to start with the right knee if you are bending in your knee or leg. And that just alleviates any pressure on the lower back. Particularly, I have quite a curve on my lower back. So if you do suffer with any tension or problems there, definitely bend your right leg. Now from here, you might prefer just to stack the hands and rest the head down or grab another blanket. Or we turn the head with our right ear on that bolster. Your arms are comfortable. They just feel heavy by your side. You're relaxing and softening the hands. Make any adjustments. So if you need extra support under the hips, under the head, even under the feet, if it feels like the tops of the feet are uncomfortable on the ground, then grab a small blanket, a small pillow. Make any final adjustments. And then allow your body to rest there. So staying in that pose on the abdomen. Now, as you know, our yin practice, we hold, we take things slowly, but we do know that we can come out any sooner if we choose to do so. So staying as you are, closing the eyes if that feels comfortable for you. Just start to notice your body. And maybe for you that's noticing where the body is in contact with your support. Maybe it's noticing your breath. Maybe it's bringing your awareness to a part of your body that you feel more drawn to. And just bring to your mind's eye the affirmation, I allow my mind, body and soul to slow down. Give yourself this permission. So life is very much about balance. and in Chinese philosophy, this is seen as yin and yang. We need both of those energies. Yin is that quieter, slower energy, and yang is that faster, fiery energy. Many people's lives are very yang based, constantly moving, constantly doing, and finding very little time to just find stillness, to just slow down. When we live in this constant state of overdrive, our stress levels increase, which leads to a number of things: anxiety, insomnia, pressure on the heart, high blood pressure. The list can go on. So as you move through your practice this evening, I'd like you just to notice if you feel out of balance. Maybe already something comes to your mind. Maybe out of balance with the food that you're eating. Maybe not enough sleep. Maybe not saying no more to the things that do not serve or do not make you feel good. Just notice. And from here, just start to straighten your right leg if you had it bent, and bring in the left knee. We also turn the head, so we are turning the head to the opposite side. That left ear is down on our support. Allow the body just to make any adjustments again so you feel comfortable. And now as you rest on this left side, left knee bent, left ear on the support, I'd like you now to notice your breath. And again, just giving that permission to slow down. If this is something that you do struggle with, maybe just counting the breath, inhaling that in count of 4 or 5, and then exhaling the count of 4 or 5. I'm going to rest here for a little longer. Just knowing that any of the poses that we move through this evening are always available to rest in a little longer. Don't worry if you drift in and out, listening to the sound of my voice. Don't worry if you fall asleep. This is what your body needs. This is your space to just listen. So let's bring our chin back to centre if we're ready to. Bring your hands and your elbows down to your mat and straighten that left leg. So the legs are long. Just resting here for a moment. Let's bring in the hands a little closer now as you push up and away from your bolster. We are going to keep the bolster where it is, but we need to draw it now to us. I'll actually come to it, but if you take your knees wide, big toes together, draw the bolster to you and just start to fold back over it. You have those options of stacking the hands, turning the head, sitting back towards the heels. Don't be afraid to maybe make the head support higher. That feels right this evening. And we're going to find that stillness again in the pose. As much as possible during your practice this evening, just try to keep that connection with your breath. It's always going to be your guide as you move through the poses. It's also that tool to help you. We know if we stop and notice or take longer breaths, we automatically slow the brain and the mind. Do you notice any thoughts that come to you? But just don't let them take hold. There's no attachment. If you've had your head turned, then do you take it the opposite way? Again, just resting, just noticing. when you feel ready, just start to slowly bring yourself back up. I'd encourage you to grab your blanket, fold it, and just sit on the blanket. Even if you're sitting just on the edge of it, you're going to have your bolster just in front of you. And if you are using an essential oil, just grab a drop of it now. Doesn't matter if you're not. Whether you're using an oil or not, just start to rub the palms together, creating that heat. Feeling the palms getting warmer. Maybe making that friction a little more. And I'd like you to close your eyes. Just notice if there's an area of your body that needs healing. Maybe it's a muscle, maybe it's an organ, it can be the heart, maybe it's the muscles of the neck, maybe it's the head. And as you stop moving the hands, you're going to bring your hands to that part of the body and just place the hands there. It's an area that you can reach with ease. Feeling the heat of your hands penetrate the layers of the body. We naturally have that healing ability. If you fall, you hurt yourself, or a child falls and hurts themselves, we naturally bring our hand to that area, that place that maybe feels sore or painful. So visualize your own healing energy, your own light, flowing into this space, this area right now. If it feels comfortable, rest your hands in that place. If not, you can bring one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. And as you inhale, just start to draw the breath from the very base of the spine, the root chakra. So you're inhaling the breath up the body, like you're filling the body up with the breath. As you exhale, you're releasing the breath back down to that base point. Inhaling from that base point, drawing the breath up. Exhaling the breath down. Inhale that breath up. Now maybe starting to take a pause at the top before you take that exhale back down. Maybe taking that pause at the bottom before your next inhale up. Let's take a few more of these breaths in our own time. Taking 2 more breaths. Slowly starting to move the hands away from the body, but very slowly, that you can still feel that heat, that energy, just hovering slightly away from the body. And then moving the hands further and further away. So having your bolster in front of you, we're going to keep the legs crossed, but just make sure your legs are not stacked on top of each other. So have one in front of the other. We're then just going to head down to our bolster. Now don't be afraid to make that bolster higher. You can maybe just rest your elbows there, bending, supporting the head in the hands. If it feels okay, you might come all the way down to your bolster, resting the whole of the forehead down. Try and let the arms go. So if you have got your head down to your bolster, just send your elbows down, let your arms stretch in front of you. You get that space, that opening into the lower back. And remember, you can also stack your bolster so you can get lower to it if you need to. Pillows, blankets. Again, just have that softness in the arms if you can. Resting just here. Stay in here a few more breaths if that feels okay. And then slowly, slowly ease your way back up. We're going to take a change in the cross of the legs. Now bear in mind one side might feel easier than the other. We then take that drop, that walk back to our bolster. Remember, we can just bend the elbows, letting the forehead rest in the hands. If you have any pain in the knees, it does help just to bring a yoga belt into the knee. into that crease of the knee. If you want to, you can take your legs wide. Make those adjustments so you can find that stillness, that place of yin. We really want to be able to feel our practice. There's no striving, there's no doing, there's no achieving. We save that for the yang world. And just softening, releasing, relaxing. And most importantly, slowing down. Maybe just remembering that you don't have to be everything to everyone all of the time, and that's okay. I'm going to stay here a little longer. When you feel ready, take your time to come back up. So let's take our legs wide. They've been bent a while. Stretch them out. Maybe just take that wiggle of the toes, that roll, that side to side, whatever you need. And I'd like you to bring your bolster or your pillow, whatever you're using, alongside your right leg, inside of your leg. Now maybe you're using your blanket as well. You can stay seated on one if that feels comfortable. You can also use one alongside that right leg on your bolster. So I'd like you to be able to drop your right arm down. So if that means that you need to make support higher, then you do so. And then from here, we're going to open our left arm, but we're going to take it around our lower back. So as you open, your palm is facing forwards. Turn your palm to the back of the room. And then start to bring that hand around your lower back as if you're trying to bring it on top of your bolster or pillow, whatever you're using. Now the reason I want your arm supported is I'd like you to start to let go. So you start to stretch down that support, and that's where you might need an extra blanket, a pillow, it can be your block. As you rest, if you can, your head down. Now remember, there's always that option of bending and supporting your head. You're still getting that rotation, that opening down the left side. Let the eyes close if that feels comfortable. Make sure the legs are wide so you do feel that stretch in the inner leg. we're letting go of any striving. We always adjust if we come down and think, actually, it doesn't feel good, or my neck is not comfortable, my head. Make those adjustments. Let's just rest here. Now, if you did bring your head all the way down to the arm or the support, I'd like you to bend your arm now and just turn your head towards your hand and rest there for a moment. Maybe you need to release that arm that's around the back and just rest the hand in front of you. We take twists and turns in our practice. We are stimulating a lot through the spine, particularly those pockets of tension and stress, those niggles. So we never want to come out quickly. We always want to take our time, especially when we've been holding, delving deeper. And then we very slowly just ease ourselves back up. So of course we're going to do the other side. So just shifting that bolster to the left leg now. Maybe grabbing that extra pillow, blanket, whatever you need. Same thing, I'd like you to have that arm down, so it might be that it's the elbow supporting the head. It might be that you can release that arm and let the head be supported. It might be this side needs extra support. Maybe the head is going to go onto a blanket or pillow. And remember that right arm now is going to open, the palm is facing forwards, and then we turn the palm behind us as we take that arm around our lower back towards that support. Making sure that we feel comfortable in the head, that we can release it down to our hand or our support. Maybe even closing the eyes. Try and soften the fingers on that right hand. Resting here. You had the whole arm down, just bend it now, turn the forehead to the hand, maybe bringing that right hand just in front of you. Let's just rest here. And then slowly easing your way back up. Bringing that bolster again in front of us. Don't be afraid again to stack it higher. You can even grab your block underneath it. We are going to be bringing the soles of the feet on top of our bolster. So a supported version of butterfly pose. So soles of the feet come together, sides of the feet resting on the bolster. Have them a little bit away from the body. And then maybe you're grabbing that extra support just in front of you. So you start to drop and fold down. Again, it can be resting on the back of the hands. You can even bend the elbows. You can even grab your block. Maybe that's what's going to support your forehead. Holding the block. Adjusting so you can be still. So allowing your body now to find that stillness. If that means that you need to make any adjustments first, move the bolster away, then you listen and do so. We start to find that balance in our yin practice. That balance transfers into the whole of our body, allowing the parasympathetic nervous system to take over from that sympathetic nervous system. Our mind and body get that chance to heal, covering those layers and layers of tension, stress, and worries. Also, when we take this time, we get that space to listen to that inner guidance, that inner intuition. Let's rest here now for a little longer. Taking one more breath. And then slowly, slowly making your way back up. So let's shift our bolster so it's widthways along our mat. Grab your yoga block, which is going to be for your head, but also grab that cozy blanket again, folding it a few times and then bringing it onto your block. Now you might find you want it quite high, so that's why I kind of say a cozy blanket, or it could be a small pillow. We are going to be lying back to our bolster, but the idea is our bolster kind of goes around our middle spine. So I'll come back over, you can have a look, and then of course you make those adjustments. Now the main thing is your head feels comfortable, so it might be that you want to make your head support higher. The other thing is you want to make sure your glutes are on your mat. There's no lifting up, lifting away from the mat. They need to be planted down. Once you're over that bolster, you have that support for your head. I would encourage you to start with the legs bent, so keep the legs bent, and then take the arms wide, like you're kind of cactusing open the arms, so the arms are over that bolster. You've kind of got that space between your bolster and your block, and that space is for your arms to go wide. So you were getting that shoulder opener, you're peeling back those shoulders. They're so used to maybe rolling forwards, particularly if you work at a desk. So we want to open them up, open them back again. Now once you have the body in place and you feel that you're supported and you feel comfortable, maybe then the soles of the feet come back together. That feels comfortable for you. Maybe it feels good to take the legs long. Or maybe, particularly if you suffer with any lower back discomfort, you keep the legs bent. As you inhale and exhale, send the breath into the belly. And just see if you can soften over that bolster a little more. Now if your bolster feels too strong, don't be afraid to replace it with a rolled up blanket or a smaller pillow. Making any final adjustments, and we will rest here. As you inhale and exhale, I'd like you to bring your awareness to your heart center. Maybe this is where you was drawn to with your healing hands. So inhale and exhale into your heart space. Again, come back to that word balance. Taking this space and time now to acknowledge, has life got a little out of balance? Maybe a lot out of balance. And if so, what changes need to be made? Maybe it's that space for self-care. Maybe it's changing diet. Maybe it's getting more sleep. Maybe it's saying no to a toxic situation. Just notice what comes to mind. And now as you rest in this heart space, maybe bring in to that heart space the affirmation, I release and let go. I release and let go. When you feel ready, if you did separate the knees or send the legs long, just bring the knees back together, the feet on the mat. And you're going to slowly ease your way back up. Maybe rolling to one side, maybe using the elbows to push yourself back to seated. I'd like you to remove your block that you had for your head. You can still have your blanket, but have it flat, so not too much height now in your blanket, just more there for some comfort. We're going to keep the legs bent, but we're going to draw our bolster now to our lower back. So you just make sure you have some space behind you for your head to be on that cosy blanket. We're going to keep the legs bent as we roll back over our bolster. This time the glutes are on the bolster. Lower back too. And once you're there, come back to maybe cactus in the arms with a bend in the elbows. Maybe reach long, send the arms above you, make sure they're on the ground, and then send your legs long. So this is working into lower back and the hips. You might find you need your bolster lower than you initially thought. Again, make sure you feel comfortable so you can find stillness and rest just here.
nice, long and deep. If you feel okay, we're going to stay here a little longer. If you need to take that bend back into the legs, then do so. When you're ready, take that bend into the legs if you haven't already done so. And then from here, draw the knees to the chest, and you can bring your hands onto your knees just to help you draw the knees in. Just rest here, just hold. Should feel nice. And then maybe staying just as you are. Well, there's always that option to reach into a happy baby pose, taking hold at the outside edge of the feet, drawing the knees towards the armpits. Maybe it feels nice to holding your happy baby, or the knees in. If you need longer here, you take it. If not, you drop the feet slowly back down to the mat. So in that bridge pose position, distance in the feet. And if you can, just come up onto your toes or your heels and just slide that bolster away. Bring the arms alongside you and then slowly lower the spine as well, all the way down to the mat. Take your legs long. Take your arms long, so you're taking a full body stretch, pushing the heels away, sending the arms long, sending the legs long. Take a link into your fingers, bring in your hands underneath your head. Your elbows are resting down to the ground. Take a bend back into the legs, but with the feet and the knees together. Cross the left leg over the right. Just pick up the glutes, shift a fraction to your left side. Just shifting the lower back glutes over to the left a little. And then drop your knees over to the right side. Now if you want to drop them to your block, you do so. Try to relax the toes so the toes are soft. Relax your elbows as well. Try not to let the elbows lift away from the ground. And you decide what way you want your head. Maybe it stays central, maybe it turns left or right. I would encourage you just to close your eyes if you haven't already. We're going to rest here in our spinal twist. When ready, just take your time, but make your way back to center. You can keep the hands and arms exactly where they are. If it's not comfortable, then just open and release, whatever you need. Spine is central as you cross your right leg over your left. Picking up the glutes, lower spine, just a fraction to the right. And then taking that drop of the legs to the left. If it feels too much, just uncross the legs as you release into your spinal twist. Softening the toes, the fingers, deciding where it feels good to rest the head. And let's hold. Exploring that space, that stillness, encouraging that breath to travel even deeper. drifting further and further into that place of yin. Making your way back to centre now when you're ready. We are going to head into Shavasana, so finding your version of Shavasana and what your body needs this evening. Make sure you're warm, make sure you're comfortable. We even encourage you to stop any music that might be playing, particularly if your house is quiet, so you can really explore stillness. Making those final adjustments. I love the quote, if you're always racing to the next moment, what happens to the one that you are in? So enjoy this space. Enjoy this stillness, this silence. As long as you can this evening, as long as you need this evening. Really withdrawing all 5 of your senses now. Those senses that act like a radar, always tuned in, always on alert. And I'm going to go quiet now. I will hold this space for you for the next few moments. And then I will just end this video so you can rest for as long as you need to.